Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome to TESOL Academy Bangladesh. We ensure a holistic, sustainable development of English language. This is Muhammad Abdul Kayyum welcoming you all. Today, I'm gonna talk about HSC 2022 Assignment 2, which is about writing a paragraph. Before going through the instructions, steps required for writing the paragraph in terms of COVID-19 Assignment 2, English second paper, we need to focus on some basic discussions. This assignment is based on writing a paragraph. If we wanna write a paragraph, we must maintain some rules and regulations. We must maintain some requirements. We must need to maintain some conditions, some criteria, some demands, because these particular basic universal rules and regulations, conditions, criteria, demands are the basic pillars of a paragraph on which a paragraph stands. A paragraph basically stands on such conditions. If anybody misses, skips any of the pillars, he or she or they will lose some marks. Therefore, it will be imperative for our students to maintain these requirements. Therefore, our students must meet the conditions. Our students must fulfill these demands, requirements, criteria. In terms of writing any paragraph, in terms of writing any paragraph, in terms of writing essays, in terms of writing compositions, we must maintain these same criteria, same conditions, same demands. In terms of writing an essay, in terms of IELTS writing test 2, we need to maintain the same criteria. In essays, in essay, there are so many paragraphs. Each and every paragraph must maintain these conditions. In terms of any writing task, when it comes to the question of paragraphing, when it comes to the question of paragraph, you must maintain these criteria. You must maintain these requirements, these conditions, these criteria, these demands. In an essay, for example, suppose there are 6 paragraphs. Each paragraph should maintain these basic demands, conditions, requirements, criteria. Each paragraph, I'm repeating over and over again, each paragraph must maintain these basic requirements, rules and regulations, conditions, criteria, needs. And of course, while writing a paragraph, for example, load shedding, traffic jam, winter morning, juvenile delinquency, blah blah blah, we need to maintain the same criteria, same conditions, same requirements, same needs. Therefore, I mean to say, in terms of writing any paragraph, we need to know the knowledge of these requirements. What are those requirements? What are those needs? What are those conditions, demands? And we need to have, our students need to have sufficient knowledge about these conditions, criteria, demands, needs, requirements. Because these few rules and regulations, requirements, conditions, needs are the basic universal rules for writing a paragraph. Basic and universal. I'm repeating, basic and universal rules for writing a paragraph. Basic and universal rules for writing a paragraph. Whenever it comes to the question, I'm repeating, whenever it comes to the question of writing a paragraph, the writers must maintain these rules and regulations, these needs, these conditions, these demands, because these are the basic rules, universal rules, basic universal rules for writing a paragraph. Once again, I'm repeating, a paragraph stands on these four basic universal pillars. Anyway, now let's start our discussion based on requirements intended for writing a paragraph. The first and foremost one is unity. In terms of unity, you see, let me tell you briefly, easily, in a paragraph, we develop a single idea, one idea, and a single idea, and this development must be consistent. Now you might face some difficulties to understand the word consistent. You see, let me explain the word consistent easily. In terms of writing a paragraph, first of all, we write a topic sentence. And let me tell you, please, a topic sentence sometimes could be one, could be two. No problem. Anyway, first of all, we write a topic sentence, and the succeeding sentences must be connected to the topic sentence. The succeeding sentences must be connected to the topic. The succeeding sentences must be connected to the subject matter. All the sentences should focus on that single idea. The paragraph as a whole should focus on that idea. However, if you still face difficulties in terms of understanding what unity is, linguistic unity is, please let me remind you the story of the old farmer who had some sons who were quarreling all the time. First of all, he told his sons to bring some sticks, and he tied the sticks together and told them to beg, but they couldn't. Afterwards, he told them to untie the sticks and gave each of them a single stick and told them to break, and then they were successful in breaking the sticks, individual sticks, one by one. If you could remember their story, you will be able to understand even the linguistic unity. If you imagine the sentences as a stick, then afterwards, if you imagine about the bundle of sticks, and at the same time, if you imagine that the sentences should be tied together, the sentences should stay as a bundle like the bundle of the sticks, you could be able to easily understand what linguistic unity is. The process, the notion is the same. I mean to say linguistic unity is equal to the unity in terms of sticks, in terms of the bundle of the sticks. The way we tie the sticks together, our sentences, the sentences in a paragraph must be tied together like the bundle of the sticks. Now I think you've been able to understand the concepts. I've tried to give you details in terms of linguistic unity. You just remember the story of the old man and his quarrelsome kids who were quarreling all the time. They could not break the bundle of the stick. They could not break the bundle of the stick. They could not break the bundle of the stick, but they could break individual sticks one by one. In terms of linguistic unity, it means exactly the same. The sentences are like a bundle. The sentences are like a bundle. Therefore, the sentences aren't breakable. The sentences aren't breakable. None can break the bundle. Anyway, now let's move on to the next pillar, completeness. The term completeness is relative. Completeness is giving details, explanations, as much as a paragraph needs. Sometimes you might need more explanations to make the notion clear. Sometimes, in contrast, you might need some less sentences to make the notion clear. It depends on the requirements of the questions. It depends on other circumstances. But the main focus is, in terms of completeness, you must make your reader satisfied, so that your readers are satisfied with whatever you've discussed. They don't have any query. They don't have any questions in terms of understanding your details, your discussions. If your readers understand clearly all your discussions, in addition, if your readers are satisfied with what you've written, this is a complete paragraph. I'm repeating, you must give such a details so that your readers are satisfied with the details. They don't need any more discussions. They don't need any more details. The details given by you are sufficient for the readers to understand the topic, to understand the notion, to understand the discussions. Number 3, order. General to particular or particular to general. I'm going to skip this item because afterwards there is a slide based on this pillar. I mean to say order. And it's very important in terms of developing the idea of a paragraph. This is, I should say, a very crucial aspect in terms of writing a paragraph, maintaining order. And if you can understand these two-way orders, two-way processes in terms of order, you will be able to secure at least more than 80% number in any writing when it comes to the question of paragraph. In terms of any paragraph, of course, you must maintain some other requirements, needs, demands, no doubt, but it is a crucial one, sensitive one, most significant, I should say. However, I shall discuss this one later in the same lecture. Now I am moving on to coherence. Coherence means sticking together. You know, there are lots of sentences. All the sentences focus on a single idea. I mean to say the answer must be to the point. Any irrelevant discussions must not be included in your writings. All the sentences must be to the point. Must be to the point, must focus on the idea you are developing in a paragraph. For an example, let me tell you sentence number 1 plus sentence number 2 plus sentence number 3 plus sentence number 4 plus sentence number 5 plus sentence number 6 plus sentence number 7 plus sentence number 8 plus sentence number 9 plus sentence number 10 equal to 1. Equal to 1. All these sentences are equal to 1. One idea, unitedly, unifiedly. Unification is very important, and coherence reflects unification. The sentences mustn't be separated. The sentences must be tied together based on some transitional words, based on some connectors, based on some cohesive devices, based on some linking words. Anyway, I think by now you've understood the discussions about the requirements of a paragraph. Now, your assignment. There are 5 requirements, 5 steps, 5 instructions which are to be maintained by you. And the first and foremost one is word limit. In this respect, let me tell you, your word limit is 150 words, but if you want, you could write at best 200 words. But remember, never ever cross the limitation of 200 words. The 200 words is the least limit. Never cross the limitation of 200 words. Anyway, your second criteria, second requirement is you need to write about juvenile delinquency. What juvenile delinquency is. I mean to say now you need to start your writing. And of course, you must start your writing with a topic sentence. You must begin with the definition of juvenile delinquency. Giving the definition is the topic sentence. Topic sentence is the definition of juvenile delinquency in terms of this particular aspect. I mean to say, instruction number 2 is you need to provide the definition of juvenile delinquency. What juvenile delinquency is. For example, juvenile delinquency is antisocial activities carried out by the young people under some special circumstances. Anyway, your third requirement in instruction is, question is, how teenagers are being involved. You need to give the details of the processes, how young people, adolescents, become involved in criminal activities. For example, teaching, hijacking, robbery. You could say, for example, a wide range of processes, contexts, regions are responsible for letting the young people involved in criminal activities. However, the major contributors are poor parenting, weak familial bondage, poor schooling, lack of discipline in educational institutions, peer pressure, among others. You could develop your ideas likewise. You could give your details likewise. Next question is, how are the personal and social life being affected? You see, if a young man becomes involved in criminal activities, his life goes astray. To the eyes of the society, he is not a good man. He deserves some legal punishment. But of course, he doesn't deserve death penalty, life imprisonment. Juvenile delinquency deserves legal punishment, I mean soft punishment, not hard punishment. For example, life imprisonment, for example, death penalty. Anyway, the next question is suggest the ways to come out of this crisis. You could suggest on your own some suggestions, some ways and means, some solutions to the problem. And of course, in terms of writing your paragraph, you must maintain the sequence in terms of elements discussed in your paragraph. For example, you've written about the processes as how teenagers become involved in criminal activities. First of all, for example, suppose you've written poor schooling or weak parenting or lack of familial bondage. Now, in terms of giving suggestions, you must maintain that sequence. If you have mentioned the first process as familial weakness, in terms of giving your suggestions based on familial weakness first. For example, we need to make our familial bondage stronger. We need to make our familial bondage stronger. We need to maintain friendship among our kids, among family members. For example, maintaining sequence in terms of writing a paragraph is very important. Whatever you write, maintain the sequence. Whatever you write, maintain the sequence. If you could maintain all criteria, all requirements, all demands, all conditions, your paragraph will secure at least more than 80% number. Anyway, by now we've completed the instructions, the steps required to follow. You need to maintain these instructions. You need to answer to these questions. For example, first of all, what juvenile delinquency is, how teenagers are being involved, how are the personal and social life being affected. Suggest the ways to come out of this crisis. These are the instructions, steps, which are to be followed by you in terms of tackling the assignment. In terms of the instructions, you've got some other instructions. For example, structure. Your assignment, your question has given the structure, and you need to follow the structure given by the board. First of all, they've told you to write the topic sentence. Now you might read what a topic sentence is, and already I've discussed what a topic sentence is. You know, in terms of writing a topic sentence, in terms of writing a paragraph, to begin with topic sentence is very important. And of course, the first sentence must be the topic sentence. I'm repeating, the first sentence must be the topic sentence. 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 Remember. in terms of structure. Second need is development of idea, and afterwards concluding sentence. In terms of development of idea, I shall give you details, because this point needs details. It's important. See what a topic sentence is. A topic sentence is a statement that summarizes the idea being developed in a paragraph. Topic sentence must be one or two. A topic sentence is a statement that summarizes the idea being developed in a paragraph. Your topic sentence will tell the reader what you are gonna write inside the paragraph, entire paragraph, entire paragraph. I am repeating, entire paragraph. I mean to say, the topic sentence is the summary of the entire paragraph. The topic sentence is the summary of the entire paragraph. The topic sentence must focus on subject matter as a whole. Now, I told you earlier in this lecture that I shall discuss word in details because it's very crucial. It's very crucial. And you need to follow any of the words. There are two words in terms of order. Okay? General to particular or particular to general. You could follow any of the words. But whenever you will follow a particular word, you must maintain that particular word. You should not mix two in a paragraph. You must follow one. So first of all, let's talk about general to particular. General to particular. First of all, you will write generally, then more specific, even more specific, and most specific. For example, juvenile delinquency is antisocial activity carried out by the young people under some special circumstances. You see, I have mentioned antisocial activity, criminal activity. You see, this phrase, criminal activity, includes all activities. It's a general term. It's a general term. You see, criminal activity includes all activities, and there are lots of criminal activities carried out, accomplished, done by the adolescents. But I did not mention any. Generally, I've discussed, I've written that represents all criminal activities. This is how we could follow general to particular. And afterwards, gradually, we shall go to the particular. Afterwards, we shall go to the conclusion after giving some names. For example, hijacking, robbering, teasing, fighting, infighting, quarreling among friends, blah blah blah. And eventually we will draw a conclusion. At first we shall write generally, and afterwards, gradually, we shall go to the specification. We shall go to the conclusion that these activities are juvenile delinquency. Now let's talk about the next word, particular to general. First of all, you need to write about most specification, then more specification, then specific, less specific, less specific, general. The most specification, you will write about a specific criminal activity. For example, if teaching, and afterwards you will give some other details, robbery, hijacking, among others. And gradually you will go to the general statement. Thus we can say that juvenile delinquency refers to criminal activities carried out by young people under some specific circumstances. This is how we could maintain two words. However, general to particular is usual. We usually follow this word, general to particular, and it will be easy for you. According to my suggestion, you could follow general to particular. First of all, you will give a general statement. For example, juvenile delinquency refers to criminal activities. Afterwards, you will give details what these criminal activities are, one by one. However, your first statement represents all criminal activities, antisocial activities. For example, as I told you earlier, juvenile delinquency refers to antisocial activities, criminal activities that deserve legal action. However, these criminal activities, antisocial activities, don't deserve any life imprisonment or death penalty. Anyway, my focus was you should follow the earlier one, the first one discussed by me, for example, general to particular, because it's easier compared to this one, particular to general. In terms of general to particular, first of all, you will give a general statement. For example, as I told you earlier, juvenile delinquency refers to antisocial activities. You see, one sentence is telling about the entire history. Antisocial activity, criminal activities. But I did not mention any. But of course, this statement, this sentence, the term, the phrase, for example, antisocial activities, include all criminal activities to be done by the adolescents, young people under some special circumstances. Likewise, you could follow general to particular, which is easier compared to particular to general. Anyway, concluding statement, which is another most important aspect. Any conclusion must reflect introduction. Remember, any conclusion must reflect introduction along with your opinion, if any. So in terms of writing a conclusion, there are some particular rules and regulations, and you must maintain those particular rules and regulations in terms of writing a conclusion. Anyway, I think I've discussed in details all the requirements needed for writing a paragraph in terms of your assignment to English second paper. I think this discussion will help you a lot if you could follow the discussions properly, if you could maintain all the requirements properly discussed by me. And I hope you will watch the video over and over again, and you will try to have the knowledge, gain the knowledge from my discussions in this video, and eventually you will be able to succeed in terms of writing a decent, sound, complete, beautiful paragraph which will secure more than 80% number. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Allah Hafiz.